All right, there's a new report, and it shows big trouble on the housing front today. Home prices plunge 8% in the first quarter. That's the biggest drop since 2008, the darkest days of the housing recession. But wait, there's more. Let's bring in our panel. First is Dolly Lenz. She's the vice chair of Prudential Douglas Elliman. Liz McDonald is with the Fox Business Network, of course, and Adam Bailey is a real estate attorney and the author of Finding the Uncommon Deal. Welcome to all of you. So this real estate website, Zillow, had a chilling prediction today. Basically, we have not seen the bottom, they say. In fact, we're not going to see the bottom until 2012. What is going on here, Adam? Why did we think that we were climbing our way back out, and it turns out that we haven't hit bottom?
It doesn't make any sense to me why anyone has thought that we're close to the bottom. We can't be. We haven't had all the foreclosures that are coming through the pipes even out yet. Loans are more expensive. We rely as Americans on money to go shopping with from lenders. They're tightening that. They're making loans more expensive. With foreclosures not out of the hole yet, with loans more expensive, and in October it's going to get worse. When jumbo loans go from $729 to $650, that means that prices are going to have to go down because Americans have less money to spend.
Liz, I guess we thought that we had hit bottom because we weren't talking about it all the time the way we had been a year or two ago. It seemed like there might have been an uptick, but we're wrong.
Yeah, that's right, Allison. It felt like we were trundling along at the U, the bottom part of that U, and then they would come back up. But, you know, I got to say, we're down, what, 34% since housing peaked in June, July of '06. And, you know, yeah, it's going to be another year. I mean, I thought maybe we would come out of it, but that was optimistic. Look, we were in an unprecedented housing bubble and a credit bubble. No, you know, no job, no problem, no income, no problem, mortgages. You know, you can give it to anybody. And so what the problem, though, is with the D.C. reaction to the housing downturn, D.C. policies, they've got to watch it because they had that housing tax credit to get you to buy a house. That created a sucker's market because people bought in, but houses continued to go down. So I think Adam's right. I think we got another year or so before we get out of it.
I don't agree with you. We have at least 5 years because the average foreclosure takes 23 months. And most of the loans now are clogged up with the robo-signing crisis, a lot of them. So we have
5 years until we can come up from the bottom, Dolly? What do you think? You're in this business.
Well, you know, it really depends on the market. I mean, if you're in Phoenix, I think you have 10 years. I think if you're in Florida, maybe you have 5 years. If you're in New York, you're actually okay. If you're in Washington, D.C., you're okay. If you're in Texas, you're okay. If you're in Palo Alto, you're okay. So it's really very market specific.
You know, I was reading the news reports of this today, and the adjectives are so colorful that reporters and writers are using to describe where we are. Depressing, I'll just read some to you. Depressing, calamity, darkest days, economists in the fetal position over this. It sounds like now they're sounding the alarm.
You may want to go into the cash position right now and wait for the, before the housing comes back up. But, I'm not surprised. I mean, yes, I think you're right. I think I think Dolly's right. I think we're going to go deeper in certain markets. And I think that the foreclosure robo-signing thing did forestall any future downturn. But I think the market is still going to see real weakness and real problems. And I'll tell you something, when you have high energy costs, too, that really hurts a very broken housing market as well.
You think
this is a historic opportunity. These are the best deals you can find to buying a home in the history
unless you
of
own a home.
Modern buying.
I mean, if you own a home, then you're concerned about you'll never be able to recoup what you spend.
I don't agree. If you own a home, you don't want to own it for a year. You want to own it for a long time.
Exactly.
So as long as you're using it for shelter and not an ATM machine or the stock market, you're okay.
But going to the topic of the ATM machine, that's really a serious problem we're having now. People who have health crisis or something else where they really needed to get a second mortgage, a third mortgage, a credit line of some sort, they're underwater. They can't get anything.
But what do you make of
They're tapped out.
But Allison, then the news is out that the housing affordability index is way low, so that means the younger generation can now afford a house. But yeah, how can you get a mortgage, right?
And nobody qualifies. I mean, people who are self-employed, they're showing 2 years of information. It's not enough for the banks. If you give up a credit card, that dumps your credit rating in the toilet. If you lower your credit, if you lower your amount of credit, that dumps your credit in the toilet. So nobody can get a loan.
So Liz, if we're not seeing the bottom until 2012, as Zillow is saying, or 6 more years,
well, at least 5.
At least 5 more years, as Adam is saying. What is the answer? What are people supposed to be doing?
What the answer is you sit tight and try to get your cash together. And by the way, Ben Bernanke, Fed chairman, said we got another 5 more years. He said it last year of being in the weeds here, and he was right. And so you got gotta make sure you get in the market that you want to be in, and don't treat your house like an ATM machine. Treat it like, and not just as an investment, but as shelter. And a market that you want to be in. And really, I tell you something, Allison, more than ever before, zip code matters, location matters more than ever before.
And have a long time horizon. I think a long time horizon that you're going to stay in that home for a long time. If you have that in mind, I think you'll be fine.
And what's going to turn this around?
I think we're actually doing better than we should be, meaning that those that can afford loans are getting them, those that can't are not. So the way to turn it around is save your money, consumers. When you get sleep at night and you're ready to afford a home, there's usually a loan ready for you right now. The government needs to know that if they need to loosen up lending restrictions a little bit just to keep our economy going and make sure people are buying homes. As long as we have that balance, we're going to have a good economy.
One state that is really in trouble, though, California. Watch out.
Yeah. Okay.
I think there's great buying opportunities there and everywhere else. The key is don't buy a home unless you could afford it, and that will help the whole economy all the way through.
And if you plan to stay there for a long time, we have to have that be the last answer. Dolly Lenz, Liz McDonald, Adam Bailey, thanks so much for coming in to tell us all about this. Yeah.